Hi guys, something a little bit different today. Today I'd like to point out to you three bookish movies that may have escaped your notice so far, or maybe you've been aware of them, but maybe not of some of the specific aspects of their content that might be of interest to you. And we have a long, lonely weekend coming up, so maybe this would serve as an inspiration for you for how to pass the time. The first movie that I'd like to tell you about is The Secret of Kells, an animated movie from the year 2009 about the Book of Kells. The Book of Kells is a gospel codex which is famous for its magnificent illuminations which combine Christian and Celtic style and symbolism. It was made probably at the very beginning of the 9th century, not long after the year 800. Probably not at the monastery of Kells in Ireland, although in the movie it is. But it was made for Kells and it was kept there. And it is kind of a mystery how the book survived the numerous Norman raids and attacks that the monastery went through. The Book of Kells appears for the first time in around the year 1000 in our sources. And the movie is kind of the story of how the book was kept safe. The movie tells the story of a friendship that develops between a young novice at the monastery and a Celtic spirit in the forest, who are both fascinated by and in awe of each other's ways of life and the mysticism that comes with it. He, the novice, is enchanted by the spirit and by her forest home, and she is fascinated by the illuminations in the book that he shows her and by the concept book itself. And then the raids begin and the rest is spoilers. It's an absolutely magical story, and the movie is very atmospheric and also very suspenseful. But what makes it truly special and unique is the art style, the design. Because you see, it is designed to look like medieval book art. The illuminations in these medieval codices were often two-dimensional or had a very flat perspective. And there are reasons for that. For instance, in most of the time, it just simply was the best use of the limited space that there was. In any case, it was not because people in the Middle Ages were just stupid and perspective just hadn't been discovered yet. But anyway, to the modern viewer's eye, it intuitively looks funny or even a little bit primitive. And it really is a testament to the movie creators' skill, I think, that they can make this style look plausible to a modern eye and to make everything appear kind of three-dimensional and two-dimensional at once. And for me, this interconnectedness of subject and form or style is what makes this movie truly excellent and what makes it stand out and one of the best animated movies I've ever watched. And it's just also so cute and lovely. I remember that when I finished watching it for the first time, I just sat there for 10 minutes being happy about what a lovely movie I just watched. And now for something completely different. You may be aware that about 10 years ago, two rather big movies about the Beat Generation came out not long after one another. The first one from the year 2010 was Howl, which tells the story of the trial against Allen Ginsberg and the publication of the indecent and obscene poem Howl. And the second movie from the year 2013, I think, was Kill Your Darlings, which tells the stories of that whole circle of writers, but especially Allen Ginsberg and Lucien Carr, and also to a lesser extent Jack Kerouac and William S. Burroughs. Kill Your Darlings is on all counts the better movie. Howl is told with a lot of pathos, and it is made so that at the end the viewers can identify themselves with Allen Ginsberg and feel good about themselves and about how far society has supposedly come, and yet still aren't we all Allen Ginsberg really? Kill Your Darlings is far more honest and far more layered, and it contains a simply spectacular performance by Dane DeHaan, who plays Lucien Carr, and completely steals the show from the more famous Ginsberg and Kerouac and the rest. However, Howl contains an amazing reading of the poem Howl, done by James Franco, who plays Allen Ginsberg. And the whole scene is designed to recreate Allen Ginsberg's first full public reading of Howl at the Sixth Gallery in San Francisco. However, in the scene, the reading is illustrated by to some extent at least, by a graphic novel style cartoon. And that and the cinematography make the reading, well, it makes it interesting to watch, but it also helps structure this long and rambling poem and brings it across in such an impressive and emphatic way, more so than a simple reading can do. And I think that for that scene alone and for that reading of the rather difficult poem Howl, this movie is worth watching and recommending alone. My last recommendation is a little bit different from the other two in that it isn't really a film about books or a book or a specific writer, but rather a story about storytelling. It is The Fall. The year is 2019, we are in LA, and a stuntman is hospitalized after an accident, and in the hospital he meets a young girl, maybe 6 years old, originally from Romania, and to pass the time and to cheer her up, he tells her a wild, fantastical tale. It's a story that is half fantasy, half historical, about a bunch of outcasts from different ethnic backgrounds, all drawn rather stereotypically, who are all seeking revenge from an evil ruler who robbed them of their station or a lover that they had. What makes it interesting is that the pictures and scenes that the movie shows, the interpretation of the stuntman's story, is how the young girl imagines it in her mind's eye. And that version often holds quite a few surprises, because she often imagines things a little bit differently from how we would have and how the stuntman intended them to be understood. That's due to her very different background and to her limited experience, her being such a young child. And it's often cute, it's often funny, and it's also just a feast for the eyes, because this child's imagination is so much richer than our own could ever be. But it is also very instructive. It illustrates how a message that a speaker sends can often be transformed in unexpected and sometimes rather drastic ways on its way to the receiver, and how the message can come to carry connotations and implications that the speaker didn't mean for it to carry, and that they ultimately couldn't have expected. It all depends on how different or how similar the backgrounds of the conversation partners are. This is, of course, not exactly breaking news or cutting-edge research, but I think it never hurts to be reminded of that. So I hope that not all of this video has been old news to you, and if it hasn't, that I could persuade you to try and watch some of these movies. And feel free to fangirl or fanboy about Kill Your Darlings in the comments section. I'll see you again with some more bookish content again that I have coming up. Until then, take care, guys. Bye!